I'm answering frequently asked questions about criminal cases. The next one is, what is a bail hearing? So a bail hearing is a hearing when a person is in custody, so they're being held usually somewhere in the courthouse or in a local prison detention center, and they are applying to court to be released from court pending their trial. So released from jail until their trial. And it's an application to court. Now, there's a presumption of release in most cases in Canada, so there's just a presumption that you will be released, but that does not mean that you will not be released on conditions. So the court may release a person on conditions after a hearing, after a bail hearing. It may be a circumstance where the prosecuting lawyer and the defense lawyer agree to the conditions and then explain to the judge what conditions are appropriate. And then, of course, there are cases where the prosecution is going to they're going to ask the court to keep the person in jail pending their trial, at which point you have what is a full-on bail hearing where the two parties do not agree as to whether or not the person should be released, and the judge has to make the decision in the end as to whether or not the person is released, whether or not they're granted bail. So we call that judicial interim release or bail. Judicial interim release is you're released by a justice, the judicial. In the interim, you're out pending and you're released. So a judicial interim release, also known as bail. It's basically a bail hearing where they make the decision as to whether or not an individual is released from custody pending ultimately a finding of the court. Now, if a person is found guilty in the end and they've been given judicial interim release, they may be sentenced to jail and have to go to jail at that point. A person may be detained and stay in custody. In other words, they don't get bail, at which point they may, if they are found guilty ultimately in the end, receive some credit for that period of time that they spent waiting for their trial.